Welcome to the Detroit Metro Plug podcast where connections matter. I am Charles McKay, aka Charlie the Plug, bringing you interviews of Detroit difference makers in the area of entrepreneurship and community involvement. Welcome to episode 115 of the Detroit Metro Plug podcast. I'm excited this evening. On Sunday evening, we usually come to you on Monday, but we have a very special guest we want to highlight doing great things here in the city of Detroit. So welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you for those who are watching us live on our various platforms, on our Facebook Live at the Detroit Metro Plug podcast, as well as our LinkedIn Live and YouTube on the Detroit Metro Plug podcast. So welcome, thank you. Happy Sunday evening. Hopefully you are enjoying this nice weather we had over the weekend. If you're finding value in what we're doing, I want to encourage you to like, subscribe, and share what we're doing. We're doing positive content around here. No mess over here. So we're here celebrating the positive contributions of people who are doing great things in the city of Detroit. So thank you for liking, subscribing, and sharing this content. And if you're watching and you may know someone, or there's someone, or you may yourself are doing some things, whether it's in entrepreneurship, community involvement, doing some things with your nonprofit, maybe a nonprofit you started, or maybe you volunteer or serve, let us know. Just reach out to us at hello@empoweryouventures.com. That's hello@empoweryouventures.com. So definitely do that. Before we go into our introducing our guests, I want to just share a collaboration that I'm doing with a friend of the podcast, and it's also a way to support the podcast as well by purchasing some of our merch. We have I have a collaboration with Hood Nerd. This is one of the T-shirts here. Two kinds of smart. So if you believe you are two kinds of smart, or know someone who's two kinds of smart, here's a way you can support the podcast by purchasing a T-shirt or a hoodie. And they have their collection here. Show you this slide here. They have T-shirts, hoodies, different colors. You can go to their website, hoodnerdshop.com. Now, to get the 10% discount, you must put the promo code DMP10, and you get 10% off. And that way, that also supports a friend of the podcast and support what we're doing. So get your merch today. All right. So I'm going to go into introducing our guests for tonight. I'm privileged to and honored to have this guest. We were recently in a class through University of Detroit Mercy, 15th cohort of the Boost program, through their Business School of Social Entrepreneurship, helping entrepreneurs really identify their value proposition and what's the social contribution in a positive way in the community. So that was a great class. It helped me with my business plan, and I had an opportunity to connect with our guests today. So I'm going to do a formal introduction of our guest. She has been around. You may have seen her on Fox 2 or the D Live, Channel 4, various articles written about the work she's doing. And we really celebrate her on this podcast, and just really looking forward to this conversation. So our next guest is the visionary mastermind behind the Coloring Museum and Naturally Illustrated. It is on a vibrant mission to conquer the world with color. With nearly 2 decades of experience in illustration and multimedia, our next guest has brought color and creativity to life as a color enthusiast and the driving force behind her ventures. Her career has been seen. Her illustrious career has seen her working with renowned entities such as Little Caesars Enterprise, Boys and Girls Club, and the Southfield Public Library. She has collaborated with many distinguished clients, including Foot Locker, Chase Bank, Bedrock, Detroit Riverfront Conservatory, Focus Hope, the state of Michigan, and even the NFL. Her eye for opportunity and skillful planning has positioned her as the business genius, facility manager, partnership guru, and master architect of coloring world domination. As a solopreneur, our next guests have achieved a remarkable milestone by launching a 6 month brick and mortar pop up at the Grand River Workplace, drawing over 1,000 visitors, including national travelers. The Coloring Museum garnered widespread acclaim, featuring on major media outlets such as Live in the D, Fox 2, CBS Detroit, Channel 7, the Michigan Chronicle, and Crain's Detroit. At the Coloring Museum, our next guest has brought a nostalgic childhood dream to life, coloring on the walls. Here, visitors can unleash their creativity on black and white murals designed by talented local artists using washable crayons and markers. This sanctuary of self expression offers a therapeutic experience, helping guests combat anxiety, depression, and stress with the power of a crayon. Ladies and gentlemen, let us welcome our next guest to episode 115 of the Detroit Metro Plug podcast, none other than Sherrie Savage. I forgot to hook up my sound effects. I usually have my sound effects, and I forgot to connect them.
So oh man, that's okay.
I could put them on right now, but let me see. I just like, oh, I knew I was missing something. I got to give you the air horns. So
okay.
I got to give all my guests the air horns. So let me put this on. Let's see. All right, so. See, it would not work, so. Oh, I put it in the wrong spot. There we go. There we go. I had to give you the air.
Good deal.
All right. So let's get right into it. So I read a formal introduction. Obviously, you've been doing this work for a few years plus now. You've been on local news. You finally decided to come to this podcast, so definitely grateful for that. So if people were to ask, and those you're to my audience who may not know about you, may have read some things or seen you on TV, but if someone was to ask you, who is Sherrie Savage, what would you tell them?
Oh God, that is a loaded question. I'm an artist, illustrator, entrepreneur. I love people. I'm a creator, crafter, plant mom. Again, that's a loaded question. I'm just me. Over here, just trying to be creative every day and live my life more abundantly. So I can not only help myself, but then also be able to help others. Excuse me as my cat is walking in the door. My parents are watching. They're going to laugh about this because I was just telling them how my cat is. She's getting older and more needy by the minute. So, but yeah. Okay. So I guess I can't necessarily put it into like one sentence, but
right.
I'm just a creative that's just trying to live my life the best way that I can so I can be able to help others.
All right, a creative, living the best life you can to help others. And those who are live, if you have any questions for our guests or comments, I'm seeing some of the comments coming in now. I'll try to recognize you. We have a comment coming in now by Jay Taylor. I don't know if this is a friend of yours. This is, but Miss Savage is the truth. So thank you. All blessings deserve Princess of the D. All right. Thank you, Joy, for your comment and just supporting our guest today. I wanted to, there's so many things you do. You recently was at the, you did some things with the NFL draft, and particularly at the black market sponsored by the Michigan Black Business Alliance. And I have a quick clip that I was going to show our audience because I came up and created some content, which I'm going to release later. And so here's our guest out doing her thing, promoting her business, selling her products. Here's a little clip of me catching her in action.
My name is Sherrie, my business is the Coloring Museum and also Nationally Illustrated. I sell coloring products and services for your creative needs to boost your mental health and wellness. How has the Black Business Alliance helped my business? Oh God. Well, I would say recently they helped me get into the NFL draft. Yay! Color and Wall can be found this weekend, all weekend, at the Quarter Ballpark on Michigan Ave in Corktown for, again, all of your coloring needs. And let's see, what's my favorite NFL team? The Lions, because I'm from Detroit. And let's see, what's the last one? Also the NFL. Man, look, my thoughts is, I hate that I had to miss yesterday. Yesterday, for what I saw was epic. I was there early in the morning before the crowd even arrived to the downtown, so I didn't get the chance to fellowship with everyone. But I think it's amazing. It's great exposure to Detroit. It's a great light on Detroit. Everybody's always like, "Ooh, Detroit, what are you doing in Detroit?" No, you need to be in Detroit. And yesterday just proved it. So.
All right, so that was I was out creating some content during the NFL draft weekend, and shout out to the Michigan Business Alliance for hosting that event, giving entrepreneurs an opportunity to share their product and service to those who are visiting and for those locals during the black market, which was that weekend. So you described yourself as an artist, and just for our audience, just kind of give us a background. What was your journey into your artistic expression? What was the foundation that led up to that?
Well, I've been drawing since I was 3. Both of my parents are artists in their own right. Very creative, great with their hands. My father is a carpenter, have been doing carpentry before I was even alive. My mother crochets, knows how to lay some hair. My hair stayed laid in cornrows and beads.
All right, all right.
Throughout my life. So at the end of the day, I honestly inherit that talent. So again, been drawing since I was 3. Always knew that I wanted to be an artist and know exactly what that would have looked like for me. And then also an entrepreneur because again, my father has been self-employed longer than I've been alive. So that was my driving force to wanting to be self-employed. College, I attended College for Creative Studies. Obtained my bachelor's in fine arts and illustration with a minor in animation.
Wow.
I graduated at the wrong time in 2008.
Why the wrong time?
Because ouch, the economy. There weren't So graduating from college, I was working multiple jobs, 2 to 3 jobs at a time, just to make a livable income, and barely was still making that. So I want to say in 2011 is when I first received my full-time gig as an artist. And then, from there just grew my career in the corporate sector.
Okay. All right. So you got started as a kid, and your inspiration, is it fair to say, is from your parents and their artistic creativity?
Yes.
Okay.
And Bob watching Bob Ross.
Oh, okay. All right. All right. So you start out with drawing, and then I noticed you said when you went to Center for Creative Studies, shout out to the Center for Creative Studies. Um, you were in animation. So did the drawing lead to animation? Did you used to copy like I don't know books or comic books or something like that? How did you
Mickey Mouse.
Mickey Mouse? Okay.
Yes, Mickey Mouse all day, every day. I started to draw my own characters. Um,
Wow.
I would definitely say that Toy Story was my inspiration to go into 3D animation. But again, like I said, my concentration was in illustration. So when I started college, it was 3D animation at first as my focus, but then I
Okay.
switched it around to illustration with a minor in animation.
Oh, okay. Now with animation, is that using computers as well as drawing, or a combination, or something else?
Both.
Okay.
So, I
Okay.
mean, the thing is that I mean, there's different types of animation if that's what you're asking. So,
Yeah.
I mean, there's stop motion, there's traditional animation where you're drawing multiple frames. There's 3D animation where you're doing it on the computer. So there's different types of animation, and my focus was in 3D.
3D. Okay. All right. And wow, that's so. What's the difference between 3D and the other styles of animation?
Well, 3D is digital.
Digital. Okay.
Yep. So you're building everything on the computer using a 3D animation program. I don't know what's being used now, but
Right.
when I
Right.
was school, Maya was the go-to. Um, so as far as the traditional animation, that's your animation that you have seen Disney do
Right.
in the early 90s. So that's again, you're drawing each frame, so each step. So if you're doing like a walk cycle, you're drawing each step of the walk, right? And then stop motion is you taking pictures of each step. So you're
Wow.
literally capturing. So you're doing a little bit of a movement, and you're capturing it with the camera, doing it again, and then you're compositing it into the computer to create the animation.
Okay. Wow. Now, did you have like dreams of working for Pixar?
I
And
did. I did. Uh, Moving to California was not doable. When you're moving to California, you're going to run the risk of either being homeless trying to make it, or having some type of support system to be able to sleep on someone's couch. And I never, I don't know if brave enough is probably the right word. I know some people who moved to California, it was very successful, and some people didn't make it out. So,
yeah.
it was definitely a coin toss, and that was just a risk that I wasn't willing to take without some sort of.
Oh. Now, have you been to California before visiting, or just you knew
Yeah,
him?
I've been there quite a few times. I've
Okay.
been to San Diego for Comic Con.
Right.
I've been
Oh,
to LA for the Adobe conference,
yeah.
San Francisco for work.
Right.
I've been to LA a couple of times actually. So,
Okay. 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 Now, are you into comic books? Or you used to be, or you still there? Is that like a
well, I would definitely say that my style is a mixture of comic and my artistic style is a mixture of comic and graffiti art.
okay?
Um, you know, to say like I'm a hardcore nerd, no, but am I interested in it? Very much so.
Well, you said Comic Con. It made me
Yeah,
probably.
yeah,
Yeah.
no, definitely. The Comic
Yeah.
Con was definitely an opportunity for me to network
Right.
and
Right.
to I mean, because at the end of the day, it's more than just the comics. You have your TV sitcoms and things like that that's going on. So the Comic Con that I went to is supposed to be the grandfather of all Comic Cons.
Right. Right.
So
Right.
so yeah, so you'll have variations of things
Yeah.
of people that's there.
Right, right. Because I know that if I'm not mistaken, they have a version here in the city that I
Yeah,
want to take.
that's Metro Detroit Comic Con.
Yeah, yeah. I knew it was different from the ones in LA, but I wasn't sure what was the difference. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Interesting, interesting. All right, so let's get into the journey to leading up to Naturally Illustrated and the Coloring Museum. Tell us, our audience, how did that come about?
Well, technically, I started my first business in 2016. Or I'm sorry, let me go back a couple of years. 2014. Cargo paint. Cargo paints is exactly what it is. It's painting on the go. I would like to think I was possibly the first mobile paint company, paint and sip company. That didn't last too long because at that time, as I was mentioning earlier, uh, working multiple jobs plus a business, it was not working out in my best favor. So that lasted for about a year. And in 2015, I took a break from entrepreneurship. Um, didn't really know what that would look like for me as an artist, um, and I decided to go natural with my hair in 2013. And
Mm,
2015, I was trying to think of a project for myself, and that's when also I was just really into natural hair care, creating my own products for myself, not necessarily to sell. I was on YouTube faithfully watching other hair naturalists, YouTubers, vloggers, following them, learning from them, and I wanted to. That inspired me to do something creative about my natural hair journey. Again, didn't really know what that was going to look like at the time, because I am more so a black and white artist. At the time, adult coloring books were becoming very popular, and um, this is kind of before you had your variations of adult coloring books. It was just more, oh God, I forgot the name of the artist, but you didn't really have a variation of different themes of adult coloring books. So I decided, oh, let me create a natural hair coloring book. And that's what I did. So um, didn't really think about it becoming a thing.
mhm.
I just knew I wanted to market the coloring book beyond social media.
Okay.
Um, I don't think I was on Instagram at the time. I was just only on Facebook. So
Okay.
when because coloring was so popular at the time, I
Yeah.
decided to host a coloring event.
Mm.
And so my first coloring event was at Good Cakes and Bakes on Living Away. And,
Yes. Yeah. Shout out to Good Cakes and Bakes.
yeah, yeah, yeah. April Anderson
People
is
Anderson. Yeah.
freaking amazing.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, April Anderson is freaking amazing. One of my many mentors, but she has been supportive of all my business ventures, even with cargo paint. Cargo
Okay.
paint started at Good Cakes and Bakes too.
Right. Right.
So,
Right.
so yeah, no, that coloring event had over 230 people to attend that event. April
Wow.
sold out
Is
her
that word of
baby.
mouth, or how did that? How did you get so many people
Social
involved?
media,
Social
Facebook,
media, Facebook. Okay.
Facebook, yeah, Facebook. I don't even think I did any. So Facebook, and then I sold tickets on Eventbrite.
Right.
Um,
Right.
I, I don't know. It just became its own creation, and people were just sharing it. Like I said, I think because at the time, coloring was so popular,
Yeah.
uh,
Got
it,
you.
it it pretty much just held its own.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
no, and that's how Naturally Illustrated started. And
Now,
Naturally Illustrated is the name of my coloring book. So
right. 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 Now, you started first with the kind of the playing off the natural hair in your coloring books.
yeah, so my coloring book is all about natural hair and natural hair care. I even have 3 product hair recipes in that book. Again, this is
Wow.
all just a reflection of my natural hair journey, me growing up,
Right.
80s baby, 90s kid. Um, and you'll see all of that in that coloring book.
Wow, wow. And you kind of, is it fair to say you kind of stumbled across it just because, uh, coloring was popular. You were on this natural hair care journey, and it all just kind of came together.
Yeah, it definitely was not meant to be what it is today. Um,
Right,
and not to, let me say it like this. I'm sorry, let me rephrase that. It was
right,
never my idea
right,
to have it as it is today. Um,
right.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. You were hoping to work at some major studio doing animation.
Yes and no. So what I mean by that is that my plan was always to work at a studio for a few years because I know how the studio life is, and I didn't want to be consumed by that.
Right, right.
Just to say, just kind of check it off my bucket list, and then to be self-employed. So kind of learn from the studio.
Mhm.
Probably have my names in the credits, and then move on about my life.
Mhm.
It was never meant for me to say, hey, I'm going to, work at Pixar until I retire.
Right, 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 right. All right. So you start this this gets started. The first live event was with Good Cakes and Bakes on Livernois, and this is pre-pandemic, right? So this is probably what was the year again that you did your first event?
2016.
2016. So definitely pre-pandemic. Um, you start. That's when you started Naturally Illustrated.
Mhm.
And so tell our audience. So how would you define what is Naturally Illustrated, and what do you do with that business?
Well, Naturally Illustrated, it is what it is. It's a coloring book. It
Okay.
started with a coloring book. And, I kind of transformed it into also my illustration services.
Okay.
So I'm just kind of carrying on that name.
Hmm.
So with me, again, when I illustrated that first public coloring book, it it was never thought of that it would be what it is today. So over the years, I was always trying to figure that out. So today, what it is my products, my coloring products, and also illustration services. So
Hmm.
that's what Naturally Illustrated is.
Okay. All right. So here's the website that people can go to. Just kind of put it. I shared our screen here, um, as people can see that. So how is the Naturally Illustrated? You described it as a coloring book and also the services that you provide. What specific illustrative services you provide to the community?
Yep. So logos, character development. Those are my go-to specialties, and then also page layout and design.
Okay. All right. And now, how explain how is this connected to the Color Museum, or how to explain the origins of that?
It's not.
Okay, explain the differences.
Yes.
I want to give you time to just lay it all out. What's the
Yep. Yep.
difference there again?
So Naturally Illustrated, like I said, the coloring events were never meant to be a thing, but it became a thing. Everything became a thing. The coloring events was a marketing strategy for me to
Right.
be able to promote the coloring book, right?
Right.
So here it is. Now it's a thing because people are coming together, they're fellowshipping, they are enjoying the atmosphere. They're also feeling the release of stress and anxiety and
Right. Right.
depression while coloring. And it's just something fun for the community to do. So I I saw the demand for it,
Hmm.
um, but I knew it wasn't sustainable.
Okay.
I knew that it was just a trend at the time because, again, here it is. I noticed, just to get off a track just for a second.
Yeah. No problem.
I noticed a lot of entrepreneurs or people who desire to be entrepreneurs, they'll jump on trends, right?
Right, right,
And it's nothing wrong with that, but then also you have to ask yourself, what is your niche, and then how you're going to make it sustainable? How's it going to last long term? Because trends, they'll eventually die for the most part. Not
yeah,
all of them, but for the most part, they will. And I just knew these coloring pop-ups were not sustainable. I was, it was not profitable. I could not see this lasting long term, but then I saw the potential in it. But I just knew I had to figure out what that looks like. I am a textile retail bootcamp alumnus,
shout out to
as of
Town.
2017.
Hmm.
And, at first I was hesitant to actually participate in that class because it was all about retail. I wasn't trying to do that. you
Right,
know,
right.
it was just the coloring book. What it was. And so when I did that, just in class, I was just trying to think to myself, okay, what can I do? And the director at that time sent me this article about this pop up in California. It's called the Color Factory.
Okay.
The Color Factory, though, they have rooms with different colors, and then it's just an interactive experience. So you might have a ball pit where the kids can play in the ball pit. You'll have, it was just more so sensory, more so trying to stimulate your mind with color and experience, being immersed in color. And um and that's when I came up with the coloring museum.
Okay.
So when I was 3, I colored on the walls. Then we got did it twice. Well, the one time I don't remember. I remember the second time. My father told me the first time I did it with red crayon in our hallway. The
Mm,
second time I did it, I was probably a little bit older, and I was a lot more mindful about what I was creating. I created this whole mural. It was a rainbow and people, and it was right over my bed. And I didn't get in trouble for that. My dad told me that my mom said that she let me do that or gave me permission to do that. I don't remember that, but hey, we're gonna roll with it. So I thought about that. Again, it's one of those things. It's like when you're thinking about your business, it's like, what can you offer people that they need or want and not necessarily obtainable?
okay. Okay.
Parents are not going to want their kids coloring on the walls.
Right. Right.
Even though kids may do it, at the end of the day, you're going, what? You're going to get in trouble for it and be like, no, you can't do that again, right? Um, and so I said to myself, this would be an awesome way for kids to be able to color on the walls. Here is another uh, canvas that they can use besides a piece of paper,
Right. Right.
where they can explore their creativity. And from there, I said to myself, okay, what does that look like? And that's what I thought about me being a black and white artist, aspiring muralist. Hey, I could put my work on the wall, and I could also help other artists too.
Right.
Um,
Right.
help other artists get their work out there in a different way. And here it is too, knowing that the testimonies that I've received about how it helps others mental help boost their mental wellness. I was like, hey, we got a win-win-win situation here. So that's how the coloring museum came about.
Wow. And I wanted to go back to, you said something very interesting leading up to the Color Museum. You're doing these pop-up events, and you stated that it was unsustainable, meaning like when you do these events, you spent more money than what you got in doing the
all,
pop.
all of it.
Okay.
um Admission was inconsistent. Sometimes, at the Charles A. Wright Museum, that was in 2017, I have over 500 women to attend that. But
Right.
then if I'm going somewhere else, um, if I have ticket sales for 50, only half of those people may show. Um, Also, it was one of those things that I was doing a lot of bartering. Here it is, you know, when you're talking about events, like someone creating an event,
Yeah.
uh, it has to make sense, right?
Right.
A lot of times people are creating whatever event that they're doing, and then they'll have vendors. It's
Right.
a reason for that.
Yeah.
Because here it is, you're paying, depending
Yeah.
on the venue,
Right.
100, maybe 3,000 or 1,000, whatever, however
Whatever
much.
it is. Yeah. Hmm.
Then you have to think about the value of the event itself. The Again, like, okay, how much are ticket sales? Are people want to buy this? So at the end of the day,
Right.
you know, you're counting the costs. You're trying to make sure that it's, you know, you're making a profit from it, but then also it makes sense for the customer to buy the ticket. And most of the time, you're not making money from that
Right. Right.
unless you're going to have vendors there. And then even with those vendors, you have to think about the vendor fee to make sure it's fair to them. Because
Yeah.
sometimes vendors, if you don't have enough people and people are not buying from them,
Yeah. They feel some kind of way. Yeah. If they're not
you
making sales.
know, so you're just kind of caught up in this business, this particular pop-up business that's not lucrative.
Hmm.
So, you know, when it came down to that, it was not lucrative. Like I said,
Right.
it was not consistent.
Yeah.
And then here it is, people are coloring on a piece of paper. And I, you know, even though people enjoyed, you know, the camaraderie of that, they enjoyed the fellowship of that. I still didn't feel like it was enough. It was, again, it wasn't sustainable.
Right.
So
Was it kind of like when I hear you describe these pop up events with the coloring? It reminds me of, and I think they're still around, painting with a twist. Was it kind of like that? I know that they added alcohol, I guess, to make it more interesting. But was it similar to that, or was it a little different experience?
So the Coloring Museum is an interactive art museum.
Okay.
Okay. So at the end of the day, it's going to be once we get into our permanent home. But when we were in the pop up, same concept. You're coming in, you're paying an admission as if you're going to a museum that may charge admission, right?
Right. Right. Right.
Um, so you're going in, you're paying an admission, you're viewing the artwork, you're learning about the artist. Um, there's a QR code that's provided so you could go to their website. So again, this is supporting the artist, right? And then you're also coloring the artwork.
Right. Right.
Now, do we offer activities similar to paint and sip businesses? Yeah, why
Okay.
not?
When?
So we had Wine Down Friday every night, every Friday night.
Right.
Um, People brought in their wine and they were coloring.
I like that. I like that.
We had coloring and cocktails, and that's something that I continue. Um, I'm going to partner with a mixologist
Hmm.
so people can make their own cocktails and then also color.
Okay.
So that's when we reopen. But so yes, we do have different activities similar to that. You know, that is part of our business model. But at the end of the day, when I describe the coloring museum, it's an interactive art museum.
Okay. What do the customer get when they go to the color? I know they have an experience. I know there's fellowship. They color on a mural. What do they take home with them when they leave?
The release of stress and anxiety.
Yeah. Hey, it is Mental Health Awareness in
Yeah.
May, so
So
there's been a lot of studies show that coloring helps out with stress and anxiety.
yeah, so it is an experience for the most part. So when I started the pop up, um, we did coloring packs.
Hmm.
So everything that was on the walls were also in this coloring pack as a takeaway, and then it also had the bio of the featured artist with the
Right.
QR code, things of that nature. So if they needed to take a break from the wall or were just not even interested. I actually had some people, adults, who were kind of traumatized and not
Oh, wow.
wanting to color on the walls because they knew they were getting in trouble. So it was like it was literally a mental
Oh,
thing.
wow. Interesting.
So yeah, so it was the coloring pack that they could take home. When I
Gotcha.
reopen, we won't do coloring packs, but there will be coloring sheets. So because I noticed that not everyone would take those coloring packs home, they weren't interested,
Right,
which
right,
is fine. Um, so what we're gonna do when we reopen, we'll have coloring sheets hanging on the wall. So if they want to take a coloring sheet and start
right.
coloring, they can. If not, then they'll have the walls to color on, or both.
Okay, so you're selling an interactive experience and with the benefit of having fun, releasing stress and anxiety. I'm curious, and we'll get into your pop-up experience at the Grand River Works. Uh, did you have to, for each event, did you have to put a new wall up, or was it just washable, or how did that work where people have a new experience each time they came?
So I think that's a two-part question. So there was after each session, so it was a coloring session. So after each session, yes, we will wipe down the walls. The
Okay.
murals themselves, because we were in the pop-up, we would paint the walls with a new mural
Hmm.
every month and a half. Once
Okay.
we get into the permanent space, it'll be every quarter.
Okay. All right. Okay. That makes sense. So tell us about this whole, you had the temporary location with Grand River Works and how that came about.
Yeah, so at Grand River Workplace, again, this goes back to 2014. Grand River Workplace is in the Grandma Rosedale community,
Mhm.
which I am a resident of. Um, when God, it was Revolve Detroit. I don't know what happened to Revolve Detroit. I feel like it transformed into something else. I don't know if that's it's not Tecton because Tecton been around since 2004, but
Mhm.
Revolve Detroit gave Grandma Rosedale Association a grant to build out the Grand River Workplace, which it was always the plan to for it to be a co-working space for small businesses, and then also this 300 square foot space within that building for um, potential businesses who want to open up a retail shop. And
Okay.
this would be an opportunity for them to be able to test that before they commit to a larger building with a long-term lease. So with that pop-up, it's a 6-month lease, and you're able to sell your product. I think I probably am the first service
Mhm.
business that was in that space.
Okay.
And so when I did cargo paints, um, I actually applied to be the first business in that space. I was not selected. It was actually Love Travel Imports, who was also my neighbor, who was able to occupy that space. But there were 3 other businesses, including mine's Cargo Paint, who received a small grant to be able to host um, their own smaller events in another space, which is now Page's Bookstore. So
Mhm.
I did that. Um, it was always my intention to pop up there. At the time, it was the rent was only $300. Right now, it's double that.
Wow.
Um, and and the thing is that it just timing. It's just the timing was just never there. It was either I didn't have the money to occupy the space. And talking about more so the build out, so the build out and then the confidence, I think. And then also when I did feel confident to do it, there was a long waiting list.
Yeah.
so so it was just timing, and then finally timing, the opportunity presented itself in last year, and so I went on here and took advantage of it.
Okay. Where you talking about your permanent home? Where's the plans with that? How's that going?
Grandma Rosedale.
Oh, okay.
That is the goal.
Okay.
We'll see. I do have other options.
Okay.
But right now, I don't want to put too much information out there, but it's
Right.
kind of
Right.
good that I will be in Grandma Rosedale.
Okay.
Um, so we'll see.
And uh, who would you say the Color Museum is for? Is it for
Everybody.
children? Everybody. Everybody.
It's for everyone, but my target audience are millennials, and millennial parents, and that's because
Mhm.
statistically, millennials are more so known to pay more money for an experience than any other generation.
Right. Right. Yeah.
So though that's my target audience, but I do have all walks of life, all ages coming into the coloring museum.
Yes. 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 I have. You recently shared uh, a little clip you made. You were part of the Hatch program, and you shared
I
a little
was
bit.
not part of the Hatch program. I
Oh, wait a
applied.
minute. Oh, you applied for it. You applied
I
for the Hatch
applied for
program,
Hatch.
and you created a video. And I was going to. You mind if we share with our audience a little bit about? And I think you filmed this.
Yeah.
You filmed this at the the grandma. I mean the grand the gr-
Grand River Workplace. So I
grand.
filmed it both at the Grand River Workplace and at home, but you can't see it.
Oh, okay, okay. So I'm gonna show a little clip of that so people can get a feel about that very creative way of explaining what you do.
Mhm.
It's a colorful day in this neighborhood, a colorful day for a neighbor. Would you be mine? Hatch, could you be mine? It's a neighborly day in Grandma Rosa, a neighborly day for coloring. Would you be mine? Could you be mine? I've always wanted a neighbor just like you. I've always wanted to live in a neighborhood with you too. So let's make the most of this colorful day. Since we're together, we might as well say, would you be mine? Could you be mine? Won't you be my neighbor? Hatch.
Hi, I'm Sherrie, and I'm going to take you on a coloring journey full of magic and mystery across the streets of Livernois and beyond Midtown Yonder. Let me share with you how our coloring story came to be and why we are out here in these Detroit streets. So yeah, that transition, me walking off the screen into the screen while I was walking into the screen, that's me at home.
Oh, okay, okay. That's awesome. Creative. Well, um, yeah, you're doing great work. I know that you want to get into the Hatch program. Maybe you'll apply again. So hopefully that works out. We do have a few questions that came in, and I want to make sure I highlight. I think Joy J. Taylor. Any plans moving forward to animation series?
That is the plan. I am putting it out there. Netflix, yo, hit me up.
Oh, yeah.
My my emojis that I have, um, I that was another way for me uh, to reach my younger audience.
Hmm.
Creating emojis that look like black and brown children,
Hmm.
something that they can relate to.
Hmm.
Um, I definitely want to create an animated series for that. Just haven't been able to start that process just yet. I did some storyboarding. Um, but yeah, I hope one day that or one day it will become an animated series, whether if someone picks me up or I just create my own YouTube channel for it.
Okay.
It's definitely a plan of mine once I get the coloring museum stabilized.
All right. Shout out to that. We have another, I think it's a comment. Wow, I did not know it was so many layers of 3D animations. That's cute. That's from Sophia Barnett. So yes, thank you. Thank you for all those who are watching. If you have any other comments or questions, please feel free to join in this conversation. So I wanted to kind of pivot to kind of let people know what you're doing now and how can they participate in your events. I know that let me add to the stage. This was you at I think All Things Detroit.
Mhm.
Um, you were at the NFL draft experience at the corner ballpark. Share with the audience a little about how was that and your experience with the NFL draft.
I wasn't there.
Oh, you wasn't there?
I was not at that. Well, I
Oh,
mean, I physically was not there.
oh, I thought you.
I dropped off that wall and kept it moving.
Oh, okay. I thought you had to be there. I didn't. I wasn't sure. Okay, you dropped the
No,
ball.
no. The NFL commissioned me to um, illustrate that mural that's behind that you see there.
Hmm.
So that's our coloring wall. That's a 10-foot by 6-foot coloring wall, which is
Hmm.
really picking up a lot of traction.
Okay.
Very happy with what's coming up of that coloring wall right now. Everything that I hoped it to be, it is. And then they also commissioned me to do a couple of coloring sheets. So this was the coloring station at the corner ballpark for the NFL draft experience. So yeah, no, I dropped that bad boy off Thursday morning, picked it up Saturday. They did
Okay.
not need me for that, which was awesome.
Okay.
I was it allowed me to do other things at the NFL. Unfortunately, I didn't get the chance to participate as just a patron, but I was
Right.
there. Yeah.
Okay. And so you're not at the brick and mortar. So you just mainly are you back to doing pop ups or what do
Yes.
you?
Yeah. So right now, like what you have on your screen there, I will be popping up at Rosa. This is a collaboration between me and Rosa. We're doing a Father's Day coloring event. Um, Men color too.
Yes, we
Fathers
do.
definitely have
Yes, we do.
zoned out at the coloring museum. I swear some of those kids, they'll be running around the coloring museum and the fathers are not paying attention to them. I'm like, yo, you go get your child, but they're in the zone, so I let them be because men need to release stress too. So
Okay. You-
we have that as a family event. Very excited about that.
How do now people may not? I know Rosa is the coffee shop cafe on Grand River in Rosedale Park. So tell our audience where exactly is that at, or how do they get tickets to this event?
Yep. So the tickets will actually be released this evening. um,
Oh, okay.
yeah. So tickets are going to be offered on my website. We will have a limited amount of tickets, and so they'll happen. Just check in tomorrow. So they'll be. You can go to thecoloringmuseum.com or naturallyill.com, and you can
Okay.
purchase your tickets there.
So they can purchase the tickets there. Do they have to bring their children, or what if you're a father, empty nester, and you just want to
No,
color?
no, anybody could come.
Anybody? Oh, anyway, all right. So y'all heard it. Father's Day weekend at the Coloring Museum pop up at the Rosa Cafe in Rosedale Park. The websites are here on the screen. You can go to either website. There's tickets. So, is there a price on the tickets or?
Yeah, so the prices for the tickets is going to be $20 for adults,
Okay.
and then 15 for kids, and then that comes with a free beverage and then your coloring pack.
What kind of beverage is it? Like a Budweiser, lemonade, iced tea?
So it'll be coffee based or juice.
Oh, coffee from the
Yeah, so
place. Right,
whatever
right.
is on the Rosa menu.
Those are, yeah, that makes sense. I was just kidding around, but yeah, well, that's great. So those who are watching want to encourage you to do that. Maybe you know a father that may not have seen this episode, and you think that'd be a great event for them and their children. Definitely go to the website there. Um, so as we kind of wrap things up, I wanted to also talk about how can people purchase your coloring books? Is it through the same websites or?
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
So through the same websites. So what's on the website is what we have. I do offer custom services. Again, that's custom services for various coloring activities. I've had parents to want me to illustrate their child for their birthday party. They had made a color sheet, and I will give them a PDF, so it'll be a downloadable PDF, and they
mhm.
can print it off on their own. um, we have the coloring pillows, we have the coloring book bags, we have the painting kits, and again the coloring books.
Okay. And okay, so you do individual services for illustrated services. Now, this for individuals and businesses, or both?
Both. So it just, at the end of the day, it depends on your budget.
Mhm.
But just know that you're getting a custom experience.
Right, right.
So, if you're looking, if you're an individual and you have that, you're doing something big and lavish, and you have that budget that you want something customized, you can, hit us up and we'll accommodate you.
All right, all right. Um, so any now we talked about the Father's Day event. Any news you want to share with the audience? Any upcoming things, or what can we look out for
Yep.
National
So,
Father's Day?
Shimmer on the River, which is a fundraiser
Okay,
by the Detroit Riverfront Conservancy. Right now, I am illustrating a coloring mural for that.
okay,
If I'm not mistaken, that's June 10th, which is on a Monday. In
okay,
the evening. If I'm not mistaken, it's from 6 to 9.
okay.
VIP starts at 5.
Mm,
Definitely check that out. I do have other coloring events that I'm going to have throughout the summer. Really haven't solidified all that information just yet, but you can go on my website and sign up for my newsletter, because I will be sending out newsletters. And then also follow me on social media, the Coloring Museum on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. I'm always trying to keep up to date there. And I just ask people, just please be patient with me, because I get emails often, and I'm
right.
extremely grateful and blessed that people are very much interested in the Coloring Museum and want to be involved in some type of capacity. I had someone, I was at Good Case of Bakes. I was at Good Case of Bakes, and I was talking to one of the employees there, and then they brought up the Coloring Museum, and the customer was like, "Oh my God, are you the owner?" And I was like, "Yes." And because like a lot of people really want, I'm still getting, "Hey, can I get a private party?" and things like that. And I'm like, "Yo,
Wow.
who knows?" Just know that right now my priority is to get reopened.
Right.
Um, and that's a process within itself. And then also, here it is, I am still doing a lot of commission work, and I still have a full-time job. So,
Yeah, I was going to ask you. You are a solopreneur. You have a full-time day job. Like I have a full-time day job as well, and we're doing these ventures. Of course, our daytime job is kind of like our first in business partner investor because we use those resources. So when you is there plans to have support staff, or this is all a one-person show for you?
I have contractors.
You have contract.
The Coloring Museum, for the most part, I was not there.
Oh,
I was in and out, but no, I had someone employed. And when
okay.
I reopened, I already have someone that will be overseeing the coloring museum, and a couple of other employees that will be maintaining the museum space.
Okay.
Yeah, no, it's no way. No way. I would not. Now, right now, yes, I am doing everything, the marketing, social media, emails, the graphics.
Right. Wow.
Yeah, like right now, yes, I'm doing all of that. But as far as also physically running the coloring museum, there's no way in the world I'll be able to do
Man, how do you manage your time with those responsibilities?
that. What does that mean?
I mean,
I know.
what kind of tips you can share? Because there's people going to watch, they're going to be inspired by you, and maybe not do exactly what you do, but their own business, and maybe need to know, like, how do you manage a full-time job and following your passion and building a dream as well?
Yeah. Well, there is no such thing as work-life balance. Uh, Portia, who is the owner of Good Vibe Lounge, she said that, and the one thing she said is, but there is a such thing as boundaries, knowing when to say no.
No one to say no.
Knowing when to say no, knowing to say, hey, I'll get back to you, things. There are so many things that I had to. I mean, even with you, I know you asked me a while to do the podcast.
Oh, yeah.
I also deep at the coloring museum. I'm like, I can't right now.
Yeah.
I promise
I totally understood. I totally understood.
Yeah, no. I'm just giving you an example.
Yeah.
We've talked about this podcast interview for a while now.
Right.
Yeah. I just knew at the time I couldn't mentally.
Yeah.
Time wise, I couldn't.
Right.
Right now our things are not necessarily slow, but it's not as hectic as it was when I had the pop-up.
Yes, I understand. Yes.
So it's one of those things that, a lot of people, you and a couple of other people who wanted to interview me, I had to, say, hey, look, you on my radar, just give me a minute. And that's what I'm doing right now. I'm like, no, just hey, I'm an entrepreneur myself. I totally understand. Yeah. I think you definitely shared a major tip with our audience. For those who are you're a solopreneur, you have a day job or a side hustle, whatever you want to call it, to help fund your dream. And I think there's the power of no. And I even encourage people, and I practice this myself. It's better to lean into no first, because you can always say yes later. What happens is we get emotional, we want to please people, and we say yes too often. And then if we have to say no, then we disappoint someone because we got to pull back and they were counting on us. But if you say no initially, or let me think about it, let me get back with you, put a pause, then that frees you up, that maybe there's a time when you can say yes later, because no doesn't mean no forever. It just means no right now. And I encourage everyone, the power of no. That's just a tip that our guests kind of share in her own life, having boundaries and knowing when to say no, and lead with no. And you can say yes later instead of disappointing people. Right. So as we close out, if you can share our audience, just your whole goal, your purpose with your business entities, what do you want to accomplish, and describe how you do business. Well, like I said, right now, the goal is to reopen the coloring museum. When I did the pop-up, it was definitely to test my market, to test the interest, to test my business model, and to make sure that and then also to kind of see what worked and didn't work at the end of the day, which was extremely helpful, because now I know when I reopen what to bring into my establishment. So one, I'm not losing money, right, on doing things that doesn't work. So, it was a great experience for that. But yeah, no, to reopen the coloring museum, to really push my products and services, to nonprofits and really collaborating with other nonprofits such as the Ruth Ellis Center. I'm in communication with them. Also, the Boys and Girls Club, and continuing to build my relationships with the Detroit Historical Society, reconnect with the Charles A. Wright Museum, and then also again continue to build my relationship with the Detroit Riverfront Conservancy. I would just say right now, that's just my primary focus, to just keep growing my business, growing my network, and to really reopen. Opening up a brick and mortar, it is not an easy task. There's a lot of logistics that goes behind that. So that right now is just what I'm focused on. Okay. Everything else is in the 5-10 year plan.
Yeah. What's the best way we as a community can support you?
Goodness gracious. You know what? Follow me right now. I'm probably going to be, and follow me on social media. I am not the one to ask for money, but I probably will be doing that. I probably will be doing a crowd fundraiser because I was not a finalist in Hatch, which I was really, hoping that would happen for me. So, all transparency, it's probably going to cost me a few $100,000s of dollars to reopen, to actually do the build out. So I'm about to get into a lot more debt. And so if people can follow me, and when I do ask for monetary support, that'll be helpful.
All right, so audience, those who are going to watch the replay, watching this live, she put it out there how we can be supportive. So make sure you follow her on all socials: Facebook, TikTok, Instagram. And when she has fundraisers, let's support. And maybe somebody's watching. Maybe you are an angel investor, or maybe you have a resource. Wherever it is, you want to support people in our community. So I want to thank you for being on the podcast, episode 115. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are thankful for our guests.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Yes, owner and founder of the Coloring Museum and Naturally Illustrated. Make sure you follow and support. So that concludes this episode of the Detroit Metro Plug podcast. Make sure you support our guests. We'll have information in the description on our YouTube replay on how you can connect with our guests. Go to her website to purchase her books. Also, subscribe to the newsletter so that you can get updates on events and pop-ups. And when she announced upcoming possible locations, how we can be supportive and support our business. And if you're finding value in what we're doing, please like, subscribe, and share. We're about giving flowers to people who are doing great things in the area of entrepreneurship, community involvement, celebrating the positive aspects of Detroit. I believe we are a city of going through a renaissance. I have over different interviews, 115 interviews, people doing different and unique things in a positive way, sharing a positive narrative in the city of Detroit. And so definitely like, subscribe. Thank you again. We'll see you next week with another Detroit difference maker. Everyone have a good night.